If you are in your mid-30s and your ETF portfolio is just a random pile of hot tickers, this might be the most expensive 5 minutes you watch this year, because the best portfolio for this decade of your life is probably not the one with the most funds. It is the one with the right balance. Here is the simple version. In your mid-30s, you are usually old enough that retirement is no longer some fantasy word, but young enough that you still have roughly 25 to 30 years for compounding to do the heavy lifting. That means your portfolio needs growth first, but it also needs enough stability that one bad market year does not scare you into selling everything. So here is default portfolio I would start with before making it more personal. 80% stocks, 20% bonds. Not because it is perfect for every person, but because it gives a mid-30s investor a real growth engine with a real shock absorber. Now split the stock side first. Take that 80% stock bucket and divide it into 60% US stocks and 40% international stocks. In the actual portfolio, that becomes 48% VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, and 32% VXUS, the Vanguard Total International Stock ETF. Why not just put everything into the S&P 500? Because the S&P 500 is not the whole market. It is large U.S. companies. VTI gives you broad U.S. exposure across large, mid, and small companies. VXUS gives you thousands of companies outside the United States. You are not trying to guess which country wins the next 30 years. You are buying the world and letting the world sort itself out. Now take the bond side. 20% of the portfolio goes to bonds. Split that 70% U.S. bonds and 30% international bonds. That becomes 14% BND, the Vanguard Total Bond Market ETF, and 6% BNDX, the Vanguard Total International Bond ETF. This is the part people in their 30s love to skip. Bonds feel boring, but boring is the point. When stocks are falling and your brain is begging you to panic, bonds are the part of the portfolio that can keep you from doing something stupid. They are not there to make you rich. They are there to keep you in the game. So the 48% VTI, 32% VXUS, 14% BND, 6% BNDX, 4 ETFs, U.S. stocks, international stocks, U.S. bonds, international bonds. That is it. But the secret is not the tickers. The secret is the behavior this portfolio forces. It stops you from chasing last year's winner. It stops you from owning 15 overlapping funds that all hold the same companies. And it gives you a rebalancing rule that is almost impossible to misunderstand. Once a year, look at the percentages. If stocks ran hot and your 80% stock target became 87%, sell a little stock or send new money to bonds. If stocks crashed and your stock target fell to 72%, buy more stocks while they feel uncomfortable. That is rebalancing. It makes you do the thing everyone says they want to do. Buy low and sell high. Now there are 2 adjustments. If your job is stable, debt is low, and big drops do not scare you. You might run 90% stocks and 10% bonds. If a 30% drop would make you panic, or you are saving for a house soon, you might run 70% stocks and 30% bonds. The best portfolio is not the most aggressive one. It is the one you can actually hold. And please do not ignore account placement. Broad stock ETFs are usually clean in a taxable brokerage account. Bond ETFs often fit better in retirement accounts because bond income can be taxed less favorably. This detail is not exciting, but over decades it matters. Here is the rule I want you to remember. In your mid-30s, your portfolio does not need to be clever. It needs to be broad, cheap, balanced, and repeatable. The investor who keeps buying 4 boring ETFs for 25 years will probably beat the investor who reinvents their strategy every 6 months. So before you add another theme ETF, another dividend fund, or another fund you found in a comment section, ask one question. Does this improve the balance, or does it just make the portfolio feel more interesting? Because interesting is not the goal. Wealth is.